To your point about being their best,
yeah.
I think about the game on Christmas, which was 46 days ago today, and Brock Purdy was not at his best, and in fact, he was at his worst. And that's why he finished not first, not second, not third, but fourth in the MVP.
So
and we
stupid.
can get into that.
I don't want
to get into that. And I told you that he might finish behind
McCaffrey, who was third, which is great. Well, that's the stupid one. And that's, for me, I don't want – we can talk about it briefly, but here's the overall point. I couldn't give a rip about any individual awards today. The Niners are in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Lamar Jackson had a speech yesterday, and none of you saw it because none of you care. I don't care. I know we talked a lot about the MVP. Is it cool? Would it have been cool? Sure. There's no question where you'd rather be. Lamar's got the MVP. Brock's got a game. And you all know which one's more important. So, but if you want to, for 1 minute, I will just say this. Tell me what the rules are so that we can follow them. If two quarterbacks are going to get together for a game and you're going to elevate that head-to-head matchup at such a level that it literally decides the MVP for you, if you're going to do that, then you have to do that consistently. So if Lamar won the MVP because Christmas, then Dak cannot finish 2 spots ahead of Brock Purdy. Dak Prescott hasn't won a game that mattered against a good team since my little kid was like in diapers. I mean, my God, when the hell has Dak Prescott shown up for a big game, checks watch, ever? And you tell me that stuff matters because Christmas night, big game, big stage. Okay, Sunday Night Football, Week 5, you wet the bed. You wet the bed, and Brock Purdy threw, how many touchdown passes did he have in that game? 3, 4, 5? I can't even remember. They won by 32 points, and Dak couldn't get a first down. So if you're going to create that rule in your brain, then use it. Use it. And don't tell me that it was, well, but that was a couple months ago. So what? That game mattered. It mattered a lot, in fact. And there you have it. That's my 2 minutes on the MVP award.
Okay. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. And I think that first and foremost, it comes down to what we've talked about for the better part of a year and change now, and it's disrespect to Brock Purdy. Because not only did he not finish in second, he didn't finish in third, he finished a very distant fourth, and he barely beat out Josh Allen for fifth in the voting. And if you look at the voting breakdown, 50 voters, Peter King among them, friend of the program, Michael Silver, who we've had on the show, another voter.
Yep.
And so you had Lamar get 49 of 50. Josh Allen got the other first place vote. We could talk about that. Maybe never.
That's wild.
But that to me, okay, it's Lamar Jackson, fine.
Sure.
He could have gotten all 50, but then second place, Dak 17, McCaffrey 17, Purdy 9. And that's where I think you look at nationally, you look at a guy who had one of the better years at quarterback, not only this year, but in history. In the history of QB rating, he's top 17, top 15 all time, and yet he finishes behind his running back, who was very good. And, you know, McCaffrey got more seconds, he got more thirds, and Brock Purdy got more fourth and fifth place votes. But that to me is what stands out the most, Mark, from this voting is that the Brock Purdy disrespect is national.
Absolutely. And it tells me that as we were moving into the Christmas holiday, and the word on the street at least was Brock is, and he was, the odds-on favorite to win the award.
Right.
All you voters out there, if any of the 50 of you are listening, and I actually don't put Peter King in this bucket because he told us directly he was getting ready to vote for Brock, and I get it. He lost it that night. I have no problem with that, but you were looking for a reason to vote against him. To push him out of the number 1 slot is fine. To shove him down to number 4 behind Dak Prescott, who didn't beat a good team all year long, you were looking for a reason. And you found it. Good for you.
And how about
Whatever.
this, Mark? Of the 50 ballots that were cast, 11 of them didn't have Brock Purdy in the top 5. Let me say that again. 11 of the 50, which is more than 20%, did not have him in the top 5.
Yeah.
Lamar got votes in all 50. Dak got votes in 47. McCaffrey got votes in 44. Purdy got votes on 39. Brock Purdy.
Over it.
Quarterback of the NFC 1 seed.
Yep.
Leader in QB rating, yards per attempt, and all the rest of the metrics in which he led. And 11 voters thought,
Yeah.
it's a Shanahan creation. Anyway, if he needed fuel and he doesn't.
He doesn't.
If they needed fuel and they don't.
He already had plenty.
Right. But I just, the fact that that's the way it broke down, where 11 voters said,
It's no surprise. It's the same thing we've been dealing with all year, and it's all good. And so many of you are right. The tone of today is fine. Awards, voting, second, third, fourth. This person thinks that, and this person over here thinks this. All good. We got a game. And the first step to changing any of that stuff, and I do say it's only a first step, is to win this football game. You go out there and you perform well and you win this football game. That's a big step toward all of this stuff going away throughout his career. It's Willard and Dibs. We'd love to take your phone calls throughout the afternoon. How you feeling? How you feeling? Don in the city. Hey, Don, what's going on? You're on with Willie and Dibby.
How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Don?
Yeah, this is the most intense game I ever saw. I'm going to watch Kansas City and the Ford. This is the more nervous game than I ever watched all the Super Bowls with the 49ers.
Why do you feel that one? Why do you feel that way, Don? Why is this one more intense than even the other ones?
Because, I'm scared of Mahomes, but the only way the 49ers got to win, they got to just pressure him, just got to play defense hard and play offense hard. I just want Brock Purdy to play a good game and shut these people up, say he did not do this and do that. I want him to shut the people up. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, Don.
Yeah, shut the people up, Don.
Shut them up. Hey, Don, try to have some fun with it, okay?
Of course, you guys too, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Don,
Yeah, Don.
Been having fun.
Thanks, Don.
3 hours yesterday on the stream was fun.
I know a lot of people who are actually looking at this thing through that lens. Like they really, it's almost like, sure, you number one emotion is you want the 49ers to win the football game.
Yes.
But the Brock Purdy fan out there is like, it's almost like if I told you that Sunday night the Niners win the game, let's call it 19-16. Jake Moody boots 4. Brock Purdy has no touchdowns, 1 pick and 1 fumble. McCaffrey runs for 100 yards, and the game's only touchdown for the Niners. They win by 3, and Brock Purdy's a Super Bowl champion. Like, there's a tiny little portion of your heart that's like, damn it. Like, I want Brock to shut the people up. You want to shove a football in their mouth.
They win 12-11.
Feed it to them.
4 Moody's, or maybe, 2 Moody's
11.
and a pick 6, right? From Tashawn Gibson, somebody who won't win the MVP. And they win it 13-12. And, for the first time in the Super Bowl history, there's no offensive touchdown. Mahomes doesn't get one. Brock doesn't get one.
Well, that would almost even it out. If the greatest in the game doesn't get one either, you're just like, well, it's just one of those days.
Just one of those days.
Yeah.
But,
really, a lot of people, I know this. A lot of people just want him to shove it to people in this game on Sunday. So that's like
I get it. Second place votes in the MVP. Dak 17, McCaffrey 17, Brock 9, Josh Allen 5, Tyreek 2.
My only issue is Dak.
Second place.
My only issue is Dak. Christian finishing in front of Brock does not bother me one bit. In fact, where Brock finishes doesn't bother me one bit. He didn't win the award. He shouldn't have won the award. I'm fine with it. But pick your rules and then use them. Does winning big games matter?
Well, not in October.
Why not?
Because that's the way we do it.
Dak didn't do it in any month.
Right.
None of the months did he win big games.
Well, he had a great year. Mark Grandy told you on our show
he had a great year
thread.
against the New York Giants. A great year.
We had better games against them than Brock did. If you want a comparison shop.
Played one game against the Giants and did pretty well, by the way. The Niners scored 30 points. I mean, look, Dak Prescott.
He was shaky early in that game.
He was. Dak Prescott threw for 200, what's 20 plus 16? 236 yards more than Brock. By the way, he played an extra game.
Okay.
236 yards more than Brock.
What's the average per game? Probably about the same. But go ahead.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yards per game. Dak Prescott, 265. Brock Purdy, 267. Okay?
Yeah,
So
Brock.
Purdy, Brock's got him by 2 yards. Touchdowns. Dak, 36. Brock, 31. Interceptions. Dak, 9. Brock, 11. Yards per attempt, which we love to get into. Brock, 9.6. Dak, 7.7. QBR, Brock 113, Dak 105.9. These are all phenomenal stats. They're phenomenal stats. Okay, so what's the tiebreaker? Gee, I wonder if I could think of one. What would be a tiebreaker between Brock and Dak?
Maybe head-to-head?
Oh, that would have been a good idea. What about like performances in big games against teams that have a winning record? How about that? Should we do that? We could do that. I know you vote before the playoffs, but wouldn't it be nice to also be like, how'd they do when they got to the playoffs? How'd they do? What are we doing?
Well, that doesn't matter, as you know.
I know it doesn't matter, but there is not one thing you can tell me as to why Dak Prescott should finish against Brock Purdy if you're actually looking at this through a lens of fairness. Or the only reason he's got a star on the side of his helmet, he won some fantasy games for people, CeeDee Lamb, yay, and we've known him longer. That's it. He got torched by Brock Purdy. Embarrassed on the biggest television show of the year. So,
well, he didn't get embarrassed.
Sure he did.
His defense did.
You don't remember his stats that day, do you?
Not great, yeah. He threw for $140.
$140.
$140, Mark.
$140.
Well, they were too busy running the ball for 57 yards.
$140. Here it is. I actually got him at $153.
Yeah.
$153. Oh, don't forget.
Well, the sack yards come off on the net yards.
Yeah, the
net
three interceptions. I remember those two.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Let's not keep falling into it. Don't care about the MVP. Win the Super Bowl.
The phones care.
Yeah, Brian in San Jose. Hey, Brian, what's up?
Hey, it's great to be on. I just had to voice my opinion on the criteria that the voters, of course, are going on in terms of establishing who is the MVP, and they're pretty much contradicting themselves because traditionally the MVP award is supposed to go to the player who is on obviously a Super Bowl contesting football team who's been the most consistent throughout the season. So based on that criteria, it should have either been McCaffrey or Brock Purdy, because those were the two most consistent players on the teams that obviously have the best chance of going to the Super Bowl, which is typically the top two seeds, the number one, obviously, seed in each conference. So it should have been one of those two. But I think that the voters were so influenced by the media going back to December 25th on Christmas Day that everybody said whoever wins this is going to win the MVP, whoever wins this game. So I think that they were heavily influenced by that game, which they should not have been because it's still one game, and that's what weighed into the decision making. And if you go back to throughout the course of the season, the quarterback for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, he played well throughout the vast majority of the season, but he only played great like the last 3 games of the season, and that does not merit an MVP because he just wasn't all that good until the final 3 games of the season. And I just want to end it on this note. The MVP award will mean nothing in comparison to who wins this MVP, Super Bowl MVP this Sunday. So whether it be Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Debo, etc., that's the true MVP that we should be concerned about. And I just wanted to leave it on that.
Absolutely. Brian, thank you.
Brian.
I'll split the difference here with you. I don't think Lamar Jackson was only good the last 3 weeks of the season. Lamar was amazing, and I have zero issue with him winning the MVP, and I'm not going to eliminate the importance of Christmas Day. Again, what I'm asking for is consistency.
Right.
If you're going to tell me that it's a showdown between Lamar and Brock, and ¿Quién es más macho? And whoever wins.
And we know who was más macho that night.
No doubt. And whoever wins, that eliminates the other one from the MVP. Then don't come to me 4 weeks later and say Dak is 2 spots ahead of Brock when Dak embarrassed himself on Sunday Night Football with 150 yards through the air and 3 picks and a 32-point loss while Brock Purdy was dancing in the end zone every 7 minutes. You can't do it. You got to pick a route and stick with it.
You're talking about the playoff game.
No, I'm talking about when Brock and Dak played head-to-head.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
If that game had been the week before Christmas, Dak wouldn't have even been in the top 5 the way this works. That's stupid.
Well,
that's stupid.
You know
got to remember big games.
You've got 50 human beings who vote on it.
Yes.
And those people are more likely to vote for a Cowboy than they are for a quarterback who's a system guy. And that's what, I mean, I'm only saying this not only to get you to laugh, but, and it's not the kind of laugh that I normally like to get from you on a Friday. You tend to get giggly and you start to cackle, and I like
probably
that.
Happen. I'm in a very Friday mood right now.
I am too. It's been an amazing week, but I mean, and you know how this works. You've got people who don't watch every game, and they watched that game against Baltimore, and he threw 4 picks, and
they were looking for a reason.
And that's why they voted Christian ahead of Brock.
It's kind of embarrassing for the media to be like, yeah, I voted for Brock Purdy. Because like Cam Newton will come to your house and be like, you dummy. He's just doing what they tell him to do, just handing the ball over here, there, and whatever.
In that light, if you think the Niners are going to win this game, I would look at Christian McCaffrey at plus 450 as the MVP, because remember, human beings vote on this.
Yes.
And if Brock Purdy has a Brock Purdy game, 230 yards and 1 touchdown, and McCaffrey goes for $120, $130,
they'll give it to McCaffrey.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think that,
and the price is nice at plus 450.
I do think people will have less of a hard time voting for him for Super Bowl MVP than league MVP.
True.
Super Bowl MVP.
I'll buy that.
1 game. Great story. Kind of what a lot of people are waiting for to see the answer to. But to vote for him for the whole year means you're like buying a concept. You're like, he's really good. And you're worried that 2 years from now, he's going to be on the Raiders bench watching somebody else play football. There is that.